Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good day, good day, good day. It is so good to be here again, and I want to welcome any and all of you to another chat moment of All for Success. Okay, this is a Sussex friendly space because I love to support all things Duke and Duchess of success. I find their story and their journey one that is very, very intriguing, and I would love to see them succeed. So, welcome to a chat moment of All for Success. And sometimes I'll throw in a comment or two about other totally um, unrelated things. But anyway, for all of you out there, if you are just getting up and going and getting started with your morning coffee, I challenge you to grab your cup of coffee and pour yourself some and either sit back and relax while we chat, or if you're instead out and about running errands, throw in your headphones and just listen to the chat as you're walking about doing your routine chores. For those of you who are out exercising or working out, if you get a little bit of time to walk or a little bit of time to bike ride, perhaps while this chat is going, it'll carry you through almost to the end. I do not intend to be here all day, but sometimes I make it to 40, 45 minutes or a little bit more. And and then that gives you a great amount of time for your workout. So please remember that. So administratively, remember to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. We need to get those numbers ramped up. And I promise to start working on marketing and all types of deployment so that I can get better at this process. And I want to thank you all for all of the support that you have given in these many days. So, that being said, let's see where we are. All right, so you've got your coffee and you're ready to go. You think you're wheeling and dealing. All right, let's go ahead. Also, let's talk about if you've had any wonderful things to report in your physical journey, in your workout plan, please put it also in the chat. This is a great way to support each other and to encourage each other to continue our workout. And we definitely need to do that. Now, this week, of course, I'm going to type this in while I'm sitting here. So if you hear the clicking, that's what it is. I'm trying to do that at the same time. So I want to say that I put in some gym time and I put in about maybe about an hour. And then the other thing, which I really like, I told you guys, I really like the bike ride, and I am on the what they call a recline reclining cycle, I guess it is. And that's because it doesn't put so much pressure on your back. So the reclining cycle is really good for me. I see a lot of people in the gym when I go, and they're generally out there on the Peloton. And that's the bike where you kind of sit up straighter and you ride. It has the big wheels. And so that one can actually be adjusted to how much force you put behind it as you are pedaling. So that bike is the Peloton. It's pretty cool. And I know a lot of people use it, and you see them all over the gyms nowadays. It's amazing. But please add into the comments down below if you've got some type of physical journey that you've been hopping on and some workouts that you've enjoyed doing. Feel free to let us know how that's going for you. Okie dokie. So, in the world, of course, we're going to back up a little bit and we're going to look at in this world of all things Sussex, right? Okay, 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 okay. All right, am I back? Am I back? Can you hear me now? Am I back? Am I back? I'm so sorry I blanked out there for a moment. There's nothing like technical difficulties to keep the day going. I appreciate that. Does that work now? Is that better? All right. So please excuse the technical difficulties. We're going to try to keep this show on from derailing. But as I was saying before, um, I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but I'll start over just a little bit. I would like to point out that I am coming from the point of view, the perspective of a parent of adult children. And so I like to support most things Sussex because I like to see the work that they do. And I am really encouraged by the impact in the world that they have. Not only that, just like each of us encouraging each other, I find it fascinating to watch other people encourage people to do better. So, this slide for me, show up and do good. This is an opportunity to see the work that someone else is doing, understand some of the challenges that they may be going through, and determine in your own life, are you facing challenges at the same level? And if you are not, then understand that you can overcome many of the things that you may be going through. So, as a parent of adult children, we have a view of some of the things that they're going to be challenged by because we've also been through it in some degree. Perhaps not to the same level, perhaps not to the same magnitude, but in fact, we have experienced many of these things. The other thing, when we look at how the Sussex family chose to move through their lives, they started to look at least in my view, things that were going to hold them back. You know, I don't know if any of you experienced this, but have you ever been in a conversation, and I'm going to say even a general conversation, and you might express that you want to pursue an endeavor? And it could be anything. You might wake up one day and say to a friend or coworker or a colleague, you know what? I really want to become I want to become a bowling instructor. I'm just making that up as an example. And have you found in your experience what is often the response is that to you, the other person always appears to respond with why you cannot do it or what are going to be your possible obstacles. And then they're generally going to tell you how many other people attempted to do this thing and were not successful. Now, here's the thing, I do not know if that is natural. And I can't say that it's not something I haven't done myself. I just don't know if it's natural that when a person comes to me, or let's say you're sitting in a room and someone tells me what their ambitions are, or what they want to do in life, or where they want to go in life, and then you automatically say something like, well, here's why you can't do that. Here are the problems you're going to find. These are going to be the difficulties. You know, I don't know if that's natural, but I am sure that many of you have experienced that. So again, we need encouragement from other people sometimes, but I think in the case of perhaps the Sussex family, they have reached this place in their lives where they are able to push forward and pursue. And I am going to guess that they have been able to reduce the noise coming from everywhere else that would imply they are not going to succeed. I mean, after all, with the odds that they're coming up against constantly, they would definitely have to turn that volume down. When you think about the fact that there is a but a worldwide media campaign set up to discourage them from being able to be successful at anything, right? And it doesn't matter what they pursue, it doesn't matter what they participate in. It can be something as simple as, oh, and I love this. It was as simple as Harry presenting an award to a football player. And what did the UK media have to say about it? First of all, they said it was a minor tawdry event. Okay, this is how the UK media described in the United States what is an NFL banquet to present awards in the United States. But the UK media labeled it a tawdry, low down, look how far he's fallen affair. Can you imagine? Right? Just the very thought of that was, to me, offensive. Right? As if the UK media can define what is important in the United States, or rather, to what level of importance we're supposed to hold it, right? So, where do when we think of people who are players in the NFL, they are really achievers in their field and they're at the top of their field. Also, if you notice, they like to always refer to Meghan, right, as D-list, C-list, B-list actress, right? For whatever reason, they feel the need to always, what do you call it, qualify. The UK media, talk TV tabloids, they have an absolute abnormal obsession with trying to qualify other people. They always have to add the adjective of higher versus lower, up versus down. But this is the result of coming out of a community that bases itself on royal hierarchy, right? They can't help but look next to themselves. Everyone is always looking at the next person with this mentality of, am I above this person or am I below? Is this person higher than me or are they lower than me? And so now the UK tabloid media personalities have gotten themselves in this fix where they need to make Harry and Meghan somehow beneath them, right? They're struggling and they're really trying to force some type of situation where the world will see a UK tabloid media personality, someone who is doing what I'm doing on YouTube, which is just talking, right? People interviewing each other on just a YouTube channel and chit-chatting. Somehow they want to make that equivalent or greater than who and what Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan stand for and what they do, right? They want to somehow make those things equatable, right? It's probably not likely. So again, I feel like I'm just rambling on. So I want to again say to all of you before we get started in the slide deck, I want to say good morning and good morning again. Let me see who's in here real quick. And thank you all for your likes, your shares, and subscribes. Oh, wow. I would not dare. I would like to say good morning and hello. Okay. I'm going to try the name. Can I, or how about I just say Njoku? Can I say that and stop right there? That is beautiful. But thank you so much for being here and good morning. And I absolutely love the name. I would like to try it, but I think Tochukwu, maybe? Tochukwu Ninjoku. I am telling you, that is gorgeous. I love it. Thank you for reminding me about the sound. I didn't even realize the sound was offline. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Also, I would like to welcome, I see a person here, Kathy Gabby. Thank you so much. Hello and good morning to you as well. Thank you for being here. Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. We also have, I love this, says Compton Cali Gal. Well, of course, Compton Cali Gal. Welcome, California. Thank you from all the way on the West Coast for being here. We appreciate it. All right, let's see what else have I got here. Let me see. Am I missing anybody? I always laugh because I'm struggle streaming. You all just don't know. This is wonderful. Thank you for being here and good morning, Miss I say Miss, but I'm not sure. Rafaela Bertoni. Thank you and thank you so much for being here. Please forgive me if I throw titles and what I call labels on you that don't belong. I definitely apologize. Thank you so much. Raphael Bertoni, I love that. Happy Easter. Yes, I am so excited that it's a weekend that we can kind of take it easy. I am looking forward to you. I definitely need it. Happy Easter to all of you. But thank you guys for being here. And then we're going to just jump right in and see what else we're here to chat about. Let me see if I've got this right, okay? Hopefully my transition will last and I won't lose my sound. That's my last slide. So I'm going to try to back all the way up so you kind of get a preview all the way back to the beginning of where I plan to start. And then we will take it from there. All right. So let's go real quick through these. And in light of what has gone on in the past week or 2 weeks. So where are we right now, folks? I love these magazine covers. Our Duke and Duchess, they looked beautiful. And it is wonderful. But let's look at the last 2 weeks. Let's talk about a little bit. What did we have happening? Well, a big mess was made by a lot of media attempts to present a story that was not true. Okay? So we had lies upon lies upon lies. Then we get to the end of the 2 weeks, we get an announcement, and that announcement is supposed to make you say, oh, well, now that the people who are behind it are sick, forget about it all. Everybody's sick, so let's just forget it, right? And then we have also going in the undertone, what is it that people believe? What do we believe now? Well, everyone is watching and they're not sure, right? They're not sure. But deep within the recesses of all of that nonsense over the past 2 weeks, what did we get from the UK tabloid media, which we thought, at least I did, I won't say I expected it, but let's say I thought perhaps it might slide in. I thought perhaps somewhere it would slide in that, all of this media blitz is the same type of thing that Prince Harry actually spoke about in his book Spare. It is exactly what was spoken about in the book by Omid Scobie, Endgame, right? I thought that somewhere along the line, someone would acknowledge that what happened over those past 2.5 weeks, or actually the whole 2 months, and then the pile on from everyone in social media, you thought for sure that someone would recognize, well, this is actually what Prince Harry was talking about. That if you in the media put out stories about people and start saying things, right? Negative things, that those negative things will take root somewhere and spread. And over the past 2 months to 2 weeks, that is exactly what you saw, right? You saw these stories come out and people just went wild on social media making jokes about it. Of course, some of the jokes were funny and some of them were less than funny, but that's what they were. Well, now we come to a position where instead of an awareness that could happen, instead of the responsible party, which is the media, UK tabloid media, UK talk TV, instead of them saying that, they started to look for someone else to be responsible, right? So who is responsible? Well, who is responsible for all this mess? Well, of course, without any hesitation, who do you think they tried to pull into the responsible position? Somehow we tried to make Harry and Meghan the responsible parties for all of the UK lies, for all of the media blitz, and for the trash talk that came from everyone else in social media spaces. Right? Now, here's the beauty of what happened. And I have to say, of course, I keep my eyes on these things. That as much as they try to push that narrative, what is beautiful is that the rest of the world is saying, we don't think so. The rest of the world, what is beautiful is that they're actually asking the question, what is wrong with the UK media? What is wrong with you spreading lies upon lies to the point where where the actual Kensington Palace, the royal palace, is no longer a valid or a valuable source of information? People now look at it and say, they cannot be trusted. Now explain to us how you got to the place that you are and how you got in this mess. Somehow they would like to have someone else be responsible. I have never seen such an adult space spend so much time attempting to make someone else at fault for what they actually did. Okay? But that is exactly what happened. So what you have to ask yourself and what we have to look at is we have to ask this question. Why does the media exist? What is their purpose? Well, in the old world, it was how information was spread, how people got messages out, and of course, how people advertised their work and their skills and things that they would want you to know that they could do. Imagine forums where if you had the ability to work in a trade, you could sew or you could knit or you could fix things. You wanted people to know. And thus, media, you wanted the word to get out, right? But the UK tabloids have turned this entire industry into a bucket of just whatever will create money. They don't even care what it is that they're putting out in the world. They just have a consumption bucket. They want you to consume it. They want you to pay for it. And they want you to just keep coming back for more. Right? But what is wonderful about what's happening with Harry and Meghan is I love that their pursuit is staying strict to uplifting and empowering and doing good work, right? Show up and do good and encouraging all of us to do the same. So here they had this note because during this entire kerfuffle, one of the major names was Kim Kardashian. She showed up on the list of people to actually present an apology. And that's because Kim Kardashian had actually made a comment that she had a picture of herself and said she was going to go look for Kate. And they want Kim Kardashian to apologize, right? They want her to actually live a formal apology in order to say sorry to the princess for what she said. You know? So, what did you have? You have a mess. Because when you think about the Kardashians, if there's one thing that you have to say about the Kardashians, is media and modern media is definitely something they truly understand. Right? They have a real grasp on how the media works. And it is an amazing grasp. Now, of course, I know that they're struggling at the moment with different little things in their own wheelhouse, but overall, they're very good at staying relevant. Plus, they're also very smart business people. So I'm not sure if she will actually make a statement of any kind. I'll be keeping my eyes open for that. And if she does make a statement, what it will sound like. Because similarly, they ask for an apology from all of the late night talk show hosts. And they printed it as if all of them made apologies. But actually, most of them basically made statements to the effect that they always tell jokes about various things, and that's just kind of what they do, rather than to be saying, I'm apologizing for anything in particular. And the key is most of the folks in this space, they really couldn't understand what it was that they were being asked to say I'm sorry about. Right? What are you saying I'm sorry about? I'm sorry that you lied for I'm sorry that you were telling lies for 2 months. And that because you were telling so many lies, I'm thinking that there's something wrong with this young lady. Please let me apologize because you have been lying continuously. No, it's not likely that the personalities that they're trying to elicit responses from will participate. But why they're trying to get responses, again, with the media, the only reason they want a response is because it allows them to make more money. I mean, imagine the feature that you get to have if you're printing that Kim Kardashian came out and said the following, right? They get to splatter that across every newspaper page. But anyway, so the Kardashians, here's Kim and Khloe in a picture with their kids, and media is what they do. Okay. So they're really good with media spaces. So we're going to stand by and see if there are more apologies to come. But I don't think so. And the reason being, because unbeknownst to the UK tabloid media and talk show press, is there is still doubt. There are still personalities and technicians who are involved in spaces of artificial intelligence, deep fakes. They're still in doubt of what they have seen. And even most reasonable people still feel that even though they'll accept the person saying, here, I have an illness, they still don't accept that there's not yet something else to this story. And that's why we're all going to stand by and also wait and see what's going on. And I'm sure that something new is going to develop really quickly. So, as we have gone through some of the things that they've been dealing with, it is crazy that when their family originally got together, if they had just simply allowed people to work together and to do wonderful things together, can you imagine the benefit that that would have had in the world? It would have had a remarkable effect. It would have had such a positive effect. But as you see in the wonderful world that we live in, you begin to ask yourself, why in the world do people seek to destroy and to tear things apart? And I want you to see things how I see them. When I look in the faces of some of these old men who are still in the media business, they all look practically, I don't know, destroyed in some way. They all look physically depleted. They are angry about everything. And these are men who actually are doing well if you're talking about finances. And when you're looking at them, you're thinking, why in the world are you so angry about everything? But for whatever reason they are. And they seem to continue to perpetuate that everyone should be angry and mad and basically just torn apart from inside out like they are. They simply do not want to see, I would say, positivity, goodness, and happiness in the world. And just I mean, if you can, just when you're looking at some of these faces, just take a deeper look at them. These people look tortured and tormented. And I tell you what, a part of me truly believes that they actually are. They are embellished with just pain and agony. Horrible people. So here's something I wanted to make a note of. I wanted to kind of point out, and I thought this was interesting. I won't read all of this, but if you have a chance, just take a look at this a little bit. It's just straight from Wikipedia. You guys, of course, can go to Wikipedia and check it out. But before I read that again, I want to say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? I don't want you all to forget that while I'm doing that. Let me see before I read this little note here, before I go over that. Let's see if I need to say hello to some newer folks. Okay. All right. So, now we have Sean. Welcome. Thank you for coming in today, Sean. It is so good to see that you are here as well. So you've come online. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It's great. And Compton Cali Girl is saying that they're angry because they can't control the narrative. Yes, ditto. You are on point. They hate the fact that we, the people, can see what is real and what is not. And because we, the people, are asking questions, or rather, not taking the answers that they are giving. Right? And that is tearing them apart. It is amazing. Also, welcome to Hen Pal. And you're saying they may have the money, but what is the purpose to gain the world and lose one's soul? Of course, very well stated, because you can sense that many of these people, especially, there is a type. And often you'll hear many of the other, what I call super squatties, you'll hear them talk about this often. The super squatties notice that there is a specific type of individual that is generally all over television saying the nastiest things they can think of about Meghan, even right down to the writing from Jeremy Clarkson. He is the type. There is a type. It's kind of like the Karen situation, the nomenclature Karen being applied to a certain type of person. Well, the type of people who despise Meghan and everything is Meghan's fault and every problem in the world is all about Meghan, and they just go on and on. That type, they have a character, a persona. I mean, if you put up a bunch of pictures, you can almost pick out the people who are going to be spouting this type of negativity. And you wonder, what is it about Meghan that has set them so much on fire? And my belief is that there's probably something they understand about people like Meghan. There's something they probably understand about personalities that work hard like she does, self-made like she is. That type of personality is going to be very difficult to control. And one of the number one things that they have a penchant for is control. But I wanted to throw something out there to you guys, and I know you hear it on UK tabloid TV all the time. This constant rhetoric about take away their titles. They're not royals. Take away their titles. They're not working royals. Take away their titles. As if somehow that would matter in the fact of what they're doing in life. Harry and Meghan in their life have found that they like to be generous and that they like to work for various organizations. And this is a skill that they have, and it's natural. Most people all around the world refer to them as Harry and Meghan, correct? As a matter of fact, their titles are Harry and Meghan. So it's almost irrelevant for any particular list, title, or name from the UK because they have already become self made, right? It's like Beyonce. You don't need to write above the name Beyonce, one of the world's greatest singers. Nobody needs that. You just simply say Beyonce. And I think that that too is something that sets their teeth on edge. It drives them crazy, right? It makes them totally mad. But since that type cannot stand the fact that anyone else elevates themselves to that type of stature or position, they feel that it is only reserved for themselves or people like themselves, for that specific type, right? They can't stand the fact that someone else has done that and that someone else appears to be very satisfied and happy in their position, in their status. They don't seem to be agitated and angry. But I noticed that when it talks about their titles, let's look at where the titles are coming from. At least this is what I found on Wikipedia, because sometimes you really do have to be careful of the gifts you might be given, and understand that in the royal family, they often do give gifts, if you call them that, but those gifts might be heavily burdened with some type of other meaning or with some type of other description. So let's look at the Sussex, Duke of Sussex. I just wanted you to note that what I did read, and I pulled this straight out, I didn't continue beyond Wikipedia, that the Duke of Sussex was first conferred in 1800s, and it says it was conferred to Prince Augustus Frederick, and he was the sixth son of King George. Because you forget, King George had a whole bunch of children. Okay, so the sixth son was conferred this title, and he was made, and here are his other titles. He was the Baron, and he was the Earl of Inverness, and I believe Harry is also the Earl of Inverness, which is Scotland, I do believe. You know, they also have titles from regions in all of the UK. And so the prince, he when he passed away, this is Augustus Frederick, who had become the Duke of Sussex. He had a daughter that was still alive, and their marriage, it would appear, was solemnized at St. George's, Hanover Square Church. And this is in Westminster. It's interesting because he got married earlier. But for whatever reason, when he was married, what was said, and we will definitely have to dig deeper into this, when he was married, for whatever reason, that marriage was annulled. You know, in those days, and you don't hear about this so much now, they had reasons or methods to basically say a marriage basically did not exist. Like you could get married. It wasn't exactly a divorce, which meant it was an agreement between the husband and wife that they split up. An annulment was basically saying that this marriage that we had, it isn't a real marriage and it really doesn't exist. But for whatever reason, his marriage was annulled. And so the children that he had were considered illegitimate under the law of England. And so that marriage being annulled, even though he was the Duke of Sussex, you see that title wouldn't be going any further, right? And so this is an interesting fact that is attached to that title, Duke of Sussex. And I just thought that that was quite interesting. Now, of course, when his children passed on, you know, of course, it didn't really matter, but it would have prevented them from inheriting a title simply because they put the marriage in a status of, well, that marriage didn't count. And I just thought that was an interesting tidbit to be associated with the title Duke of Sussex. And I often wonder, you know, because of course people say that the royal firm, they very seldom do things without some type of I don't want to say ulterior motive or some type of back thought, but in the UK tabloid media, they often refer to Harry as if he does not have an actual family. They love floating the idea that the marriage is not real. They love to float the idea that the children are not actually existing or his. And they love to also float the idea that, well, he might come back, but Meghan will never set foot on the UK soil. They love to put them in this position where, as the Duke of Sussex, he actually doesn't have a legitimate family. And I just thought that was an interesting tidbit of information, which was already associated with with the original Duke of Sussex. So I just thought that was interesting. So that's just something to put on the shelf in case you hear things like that in the future. So here's what we're going to keep remembering, people. And I always reference 1984. Do you guys, you know what? Put a one in the chat down here if you guys like science fiction. If any of you watch science fiction, I am from the Twilight Zone era, people. Okay, I am. I am from the age of Twilight Zone. So I've just put a one in the chat if you two have any enjoyment at all of Twilight Zone, Star Trek, science fiction. Also, Sean, thank you for saying, I remember when Meg first got there, after one conversation, Charles said she is going to be hard to control. Wow. Wow. Yeah, exactly. And control is what they must have. It is what they must have, is total control. Thank you for saying that. LZ Lifestyle. Good evening. Yes, and welcome aboard. Thank you for being here on All for Success. Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up. I am so glad that you're here. Oh, it says greetings from Belgium. Oh, wonderful countryside. Beautiful countryside. And thank you for being here. I've actually traveled there many years ago. And thank you for being on the chat. It's a great, great thing to see. Let's see who else we might have down here in the chat before I run off. Now, let's see. Henpal says, see where that has led Kate. She has been controlled and manipulated all of her life, and now she is sick to the core. This is exactly a possibility. Your body is definitely going to react to those type of stresses. It's like, I remember when I was military. When you are under complete and total restriction and total control, how you do one thing, everything you do, what time you eat, get up, go to bed, that can be stressful. It takes some time, even in military services. It takes time for you to adjust to that, right? And it is very difficult for the type of people who they simply just don't want to do that. They really just don't want, they get to a point where, they would like to embark on something of their own. It's nothing worse. Like, you get to the point, like her children are getting bigger, her children are growing up, and she might have decided, well, there's something I'd like to do on my own. But guess what? There's no place for her to do anything on her own. That's a no-no. And you're correct. Meghan was definitely going to be a problem. And Kate, perhaps, might be struggling with something similar. Because for whatever reason, women who are talking and women who are doing something other than what they're told to do, that's just not something that this planet would like to see. I do not know why, but it is a fact. Also, we have, Sean says, Will and Kate's marriage is science fiction. You need to stop. I need you to stop that, okay, Sean? I need you to quit that and behave. Although you never know. We have no idea. And so, of course, that's another thing. So all right, guys, here's where we go into the some of the fun parts. I would like to look at, y'all, look, Sean is misbehaving. So here's the thing. What is their rationale? We do not know, or what is their reason, but they always want to try to force an apology. Always on the UK tabloid media and always in their forums, they have people on a forum and a bunch of panels of people sitting, and they always try to force people to say this and to say that. Well, they always want someone to say that they don't like Meghan. They always want people to say that they're irrelevant in the United States. They have all of these key phrases that they bring people from the United States all the way to the UK, either by Zoom or in person. And they march out they trot out these people from the United States, and then they want them to say something negative about Meghan Markle. It was very similar to the uncle of Kate Middleton, who showed up, Catherine, right? Who showed up on that show, Big Brother. And his only reason for being on that show was to sit there on the show and to disparage Harry and Meghan. They trotted him out there, trussed him up, placed him on the show. And the only reason they put him there because they wanted people to tune in and watch because he might say something about Harry and Meghan. And it was immediately realized that one, he didn't know them, not really. He may have met them, but he had not really had any lengthy conversations with either of them. He knew nothing about them, but yet he was supposed to sit there and say things negatively. So let's look at forced apologies, right? Now they want Kim Kardashian to come out and say she's sorry, and they want everyone in America to apologize. They want to force it. They want you to say, I'm sorry. And I will say this, I'm glad that so far people simply made statements of what has happened and that they wish her well, but the words, I'm sorry, did not come out of their mouth. Never let the devil force you to say stuff. Okay, so here's what they say about things when you're dealing with revenge. Okay, so I want everybody, again, I always make this caveat. No, I am not trying to recruit, nor am I trying to convert. I'm not trying to force people into my religious background. None of that. It's just that I look at the teachings and the verses and things in the Bible, and I usually find something practical about them in order to support how I go about living my life. Okay, so it's only from that standpoint that I throw this out there. But I want you all to be reminded that when people say they want folks to go out and exact revenge, we are often reminded that in the Bible, Deuteronomy, for example, 32 and 35 refers to the fact that this is the Lord talking. He is saying that vengeance is actually his and recompense, right? Because he's saying that their foot will slip. Somewhere along the line, boys and girls, they are gonna slip up. And I want you all to understand that I think what we are seeing right now is feet slipping up in due time. And it says that for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things to come are going to come fast, that they come hasten upon them. It's going to come fast on them, right? Like they think everything's going great and things are going along fine, and then all of a sudden your foot slips and blam, blam. Okay? Something happens and things turn the other way. And that is what, when when the Bible is trying to encourage folks to, you know what, you stay good, stick true to what you're doing, and you keep moving forward because your enemies are gonna slip up. And God is saying, hey, I got that. Don't worry. And then, so just remember that, because it also says, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather leave the space, give a place unto wrath. So basically, what they're saying here is this: when somebody's got something going on against you and that you got an enemy on your tail, the Bible is very subtle, but it says, kind of consider, get out of their way. You need to kind of slow down on your attempts at trying to get even, because if you get out of the way, God will get even for you. Yeah, or not. Well, not to that effect, but basically that individual will come to their own mess and demise, but you have to step aside. So I just want to make sure that I point that out, that I encourage you all to think about that as our family is going through these things. And I said this before. So just remember, as we said before, you had all these lies going on for as long as these lies were pitched and thrown out there to the rest of us. And then while these lies were happening, they want us now to believe that because you're supposed to feel sad, that means that there was truth, right? Now remember that. Now I'm going to say it again, that because you feel sad, you're supposed to make that equal to I was told the truth. Don't be fooled, people. Don't ever let that go over, because you do not need to be fooled like that. So as we wrap it up, folks, thank you for being here as we are about to wrap it up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you guys a definite applause for being here, because, I just love it's great. And now for the more positive note. Miss Doria, yes, who is one of my favorites. Miss Doria, Meghan Markle's mom, who I feel very, very associated with in mentality, right? She was out and about, and she was doing a little bit of modeling, I guess is what you would call it. She met with these ladies, and they were wearing flare leg jeans. They were all in their wide leg denim jeans, and they were doing these things to bring attention to early childhood development, education, and mental health services. They love to do that. And she's always been an advocate for these type of programs. And of course, it shouldn't be shocking, because these are the types of things that Meghan Markle also loves to participate in. But I thought this picture was cute. And there she is in her little black top and her little big leg jeans. And she's out there doing what she does. And we have to definitely say that is positive. And this is what the world of the Sussex family is all about. And I want to tell you all, I encourage all of you and all of us to do the same. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to say thank you and thank you and thank you again for being here with me. I'm so glad that you guys came out, and I promise to get better on my struggle streaming. And I'm going to look for all of you to help me do that. So again, don't forget, stay positive, stay focused. And you know what? We'll keep winning. And just keep that thought in mind. All right, get out there, finish your coffee, and get that exercise in. Thanks again for coming to All for Success.